Best of r/ Tales from Tech Support episode 96. Subscribe for Reddit videos daily. Hi. First post on this sub. Context. I had an internship at a really small business. Just ended because he accepted a full-time job someplace. There was 3 people in the whole business. Me, my mentor, who we'll call Carl, and some IT guy. I've never met this IT guy, but supposedly he runs the website amongst other service stuff. A bit more on my mentor, Carl. He's in his late 50s and a nice guy. He knows a fair amount about technology for his age. He can manage the business and even feeds documents into the website. Some things he's not so good with. For example, I had to show him how a bookmarks bar worked. My role is classified as social media marketing intern, but only about 33% of my work is actually that. I mostly do day-by-day jobs and work on a new website for a separate venture. Story. One day, while I'm working on something, Carl calls me into his office. Carl, can you come help me with this? Me, what's up? Carl, this document won't fax for some reason. See? The first thing I notice is he's a bit ticked off. He's usually a calm guy, but you can hear a bit of anger in his voice, like he's been trying to do it for 20 minutes. He pushes the fax button on the computer with a document loaded in. Everything seems okay, but the printer isn't doing anything. Me, lem have a look. I take control of the computer and instantly see the problem. He selected the faxing option as send to folder or something like that, where it would save each individual page as a JPG in a folder, which I had no clue you could do. Me, it's because you're saving it as pictures. See? Carl, oh. We had a bit of issues with the Windows fax and scan program, so we switched to the Windows 10 version. Fax. Finally, the doc gets faxed to the printer. Carl, thanks so much OP. I've been trying to get this stupid thing to work for so long. He babbles on and on how relieved he is to fax the doc. I just say you're welcome and walk back to my desk. Not too exciting of a story, but I liked how he reacted. Thanks for reading. Thank you. Next. Here's a story from before my tech support days. Back in the 90s, while I was in college, I managed to score an old 386 laptop from a friend. It had been handed down, used and abused. When I got it, the contrast slider for the screen didn't work. A friend and I got the case apart and soldered wires to where the slider connected and attached the slider to a potentiometer pulled from some other piece of equipment, which amazingly worked. So the laptop was basically garbage, but at least allowed me to sit outside of my room or the computer lab and write papers. This laptop's hard drive would periodically get stuck. Old timers will remember stiction, which I cured by picking the computer up about 4 or 1 hand's breadth and dropping it onto the desk. You could hear the hard drive spin up and it would work fine. When I graduated, I handed the laptop off to a friend and showed him the trick to get it working if the drive wouldn't spin. My friend called me about a month later. Dude, that crappy laptop you gave me died. I assumed it was just the stiction problem, so I asked if he had done the drop fix. Yeah, I dropped it and it broke into a million pieces. Turns out when it wouldn't spin up, he just shoved it off the desk onto the concrete floor, a distance of about 3 feet. He was totally shocked it didn't survive and for some reason thought I should provide him a new laptop since somehow I had broken his, magically forgetting that I'd given him the thing in the first place. Strangely, we didn't talk anymore after that. Thank you. Next. Digging into the depths are my early IT fun in the mid-90s. I always remember this problem and use it as an example, of which I will explain later. In the depths of the mid-90s, we were slowly transitioning from Windows 3.11 to Win95, as well as keeping the old ICL doctors mini computers and mainframe from expiring before everything had been moved to new systems on some sunny 450s. A new HR assistant started on the Monday and my colleague went over and gave her the basic training on the system, logging in, email etc. Of course, CRT monitors are the norm. Our Sun Ultra 5 test machine had a 20-inch heavyweight. The next morning she calls and says her monitor has gone pink, so I say I'll come and look at it and head the long route to the HR office. It was next door, and this will be the reason of another post when I get around to writing it. I get there and indeed, everything on the monitor is a nice shade of pink. I look at it and turn to her. I informed her that I'll have to call an engineer to fix the monitor, but I'll try a temporarily fix. I place my fist at a specific place on the top of the monitor and hit the monitor with a controlled amount of force. The monitor image goes back to normal. I tell her that it should hold until we get the engineer out, but if it goes again to let us know. Now, if you didn't know, there are 3 guns in a CRT monitor: red, green and blue. If one of them stops working, then the image colors are different. Monitors we had always seemed to have bad solder joints. We called the company who did the hardware repairs, and one of their engineers would come and resolder the joints and everything is happy. The fun part was the expression on the poor girl's face. Second day on the job and the first time she calls IT out. We come and hit the monitor, and it works. Luckily she survived and was still in the job when I escaped a few years later. Even now, when I use percussive maintenance on something, I always make sure that anyone watching me understand that the reason I'm hitting it is that I know where to hit it, how to hit it and how hard to hit it. Thank you. Next. While working hardware support for a company which provided IT solutions to automotive dealerships, the most amazing fix ever worked. To set the scene of all who work in a dealership, the F&I guys are the most high-strung. Deals either finish or die in those dark F&I offices stuffed with binders and binders of papers they never pull out. They must be part of the building's structural support. These are the worst customers to deal with, as when they call there is a deal on their desk and any delay could cause the deal to fall apart. I'm working late second shift in the early 2000s when it happened. Call came in about 8. There are 4 of us left in the desk at that time of night. I'm the lucky one to help this F&I guy. His printer isn't working at all. After 20 minutes of troubleshooting, it looks like his printer will need to be replaced. But at that time of night it's not going out till the next day, meaning this deal and all the rest by another day and a half are going to have to be typed, costing them deals and hours. Each deal has multiple forms, some 14 or longer. He's pissed. Of all the names to be called, I got about half of them. Then it hit me, the idea of ideas. I offer there is one last thing we can try. F&I, I'll try anything at this FG point. Me, turn off the print, and unplug all the cords in the back. F&I, fiddles for a bit, okay. Me, pick up the printer about 3 inches of the desk. F&I, done. Me, now drop it. F&I, what? Me, drop it. F&I, as if I asked him to drop his newborn baby. Are you sure? Me, it's that or wait 2 days for a replacement. With zero hesitation I hear it hit the desk. F&I, like that felt amazing to do, and hungry for more call to violence on tech. Now what? Me, try it now. F&I, hold on. Hear him fumbling with cables and then the familiar sound of his printer powering up. F&I, with doubt in his voice. Alright genius, let's see if you're worth the $15K a month we pay you people. Hear the click of a mouse, and the roar of the dot matrix printer firing off dutifully pounding line by line. F&I, with suspicion, let's try another. Again the printer rattles away, competing another firm as long as a toddler is tall. F&I, with reverence, you are truly gifted. Me, you're welcome. If you have any more trouble with it just let me know. I checked in on him once a week for 2 months, never had another issue. Kinetic Solutions for the win. Thank you. Next. Hi all, first time poster, long time lurker. I'd like to share a sort of sad story that has stuck with me throughout my career. I used to work for a major hospital trust which encompassed 4 hospitals on the main campus where I was based and 2 other satellite sites. A call comes in from a nurse on the palliative care ward asking if we can enable FaceTime on one of the iPads. These iPads were locked down as they were used for patient observations and charts, so we could not accommodate this. I then find out it's for this elderly gentis who's on his deathbed and wanted to talk to his daughter who had emigrated to Australia one last time. The earliest his daughter could fly to the hospital was the following Saturday, but his nurse wasn't sure he'd live that long, so she had the idea for FaceTime. Seeing as we couldn't unlock the iPad, we got one of the cows, computer on wheels, which was a laptop on a wheel cart, and installed Skype on it for the gent to see his daughter. Last I heard from this, he died a happy man not long after he made one last call with his daughter. TL. Doctor, I helped an old man fulfill his last request. Thank you. Next. Not tech support as in hardware/network/other physical stuff. It still is technical, as in software development, and approaches the hardware level. and someone who should have known better doing something stupid in this sun-caped hero saving the day. TL. Doctor. Back in the late 80s I was working for a state government electricity supplier / distributor in their software development team. I'd been working for them about a year, and coding for about 5 years after a crash course at a tech college to make me a junior coder. But I also knew enough about the hardware and operating system side of things, as I was interested in the whole stack, not just the end user software. The state-named Institute of Technology in our city had a software development course that was a sandwich course. This meant that the course was a 4-year degree. Most others are 3 years, with 2 6-month sessions years 2 and 4 of work, paid. In a business that worked with the IOF to help give their students some real-world experience and hopefully get first pick at the best graduates. One of these 4th-year students was working on a menuing system that was written in COBOL, adding a new option somewhere about 6 or 7 levels down in the menu system. Symptom: after several times through the menu, the program would crash / stack dump. As a more experienced programmer, I had worked in programming for 4 or 5 years already. He came over to me and asked me what was wrong. "What is it doing? Can you show me?" I asked. So he fires up his program. It displays nicely. He navigates down through the options and selected the item that runs the required subprogram. That exits, takes him back to the menu, and he selects the take me back to the main menu option, and drills down again, and repeats this a few times, and then boom. The program crashes with a stack dump all over the display. VT220, in case you are interested. "Show me your code," I ask. And he starts to open EDT. I said no, hard copy, please. So he finds the compiled listing and throws it at the band printer. By the time we get there, after grabbing some highlighters, a couple of pens, and some paper, it is waiting for us. Over 30 pages a minute. We grab a spare, large desk, and I start going though his did code. We get down the several levels in the menu structure and I see the dreaded go to 00 main menu. I asked him why. It's most efficient way to get back to the top of the menu tree, for the user to start again. No, I said. So, I spent the next hour explaining about stacks and how, when you invoke a new subroutine of the program, the system pushes a return address onto a stack so that when you finish where you were, it will take you back to that point to continue on. So, I took a pen and paper, and we pretended to be the computer and started at the top of the executable code, and every time a new procedure, subroutine, was invoked, I wrote down the line number that we came from, and did this several times through his code. After the 3rd time through we had this long list of line numbers, and I mentioned that this is the sort of thing the software was keeping track of, and that eventually, it runs out of room to write down the line number, well, memory address, that it came from, and at that point, it goes boom. "How do I clear the stack?" he asked. Well, actually, you can't do it directly. You have to unroll the stack each time by issuing an exit from the procedure. Instead of going to the top of the code, you have to exit and return to the next higher level procedure, and keep doing that until you unroll the stack all the way back to the top. How inefficient, he responded. Better than stack dumping all over a user's screen on the 3rd or 4th time through. He went back to recode his changes to do what he should have done in the first place. Why is this so spectacular? I had a total of 8 weeks training in coding. Admittedly, that was 30 hours a week for those 8 weeks, so equivalent to about 1 semester at uni, in the first year of a course. He was in the penultimate semester of his 4-year degree, 1 more semester of study before graduation. He had done interesting things like write a simple operating system, and a simple compiler, some really intricate and interesting stuff, and yet, he hadn't understood the interaction of user space code, the compiler and the operating system and how heaps and stacks actually work. I hope in my couple of hours I was able to turn him into a real coder. Thank you. Next. Sorry for bad English, it's my 3rd language. I came to the US 6 months ago, and first job I got was tech support from home, for this big internet providing company. When I lived in Greece I also worked at a big internet providing company, so I thought everything is gonna be good and easy and I just have to change the language. No big deal. But no. I am really sorry for saying this, but I feel that all US residents are either very stupid or very smart, nothing in between. After my training with the new programs, they put us in live calling training, where we get live calls, but there is always a mentor on the line with us just in case something goes wrong or we don't know what to do. So this is my very first day getting live calls, and the first calls are good, fast and easy, but then here she comes, the Karen. I answer the phone. Me. Hello, this is Nick T from company name. What can I help you with? K. Can you guys stop messing with my internet? Me. I am really sorry that something is wrong with your internet, but I will try my best to fix it ASAP. K. You better do, cause I am tired with your stupid ass. The company has a policy that if someone is using bad words, I can tell them that if they keep using bad word, I will have to disconnect the call. But I felt bad for her cause I know what it's like not having internet. Me. Yes, I will try my best and start doing some troubleshooting. After 5 minutes the troubleshooting is over and everything seems to be working fine. Me. Karen, it looks to me that everything is fine, so can you tell me more about your problem? K. My TV is not showing anything. Me. Confused, but is everything else connected to the internet working? K. I don't care about anything else, I want the TV working. Now this seems to not be something that my company is supposed to do, and I would have to tell her to call the TV company and have them fix it. But as a good Samaritan, I try to fix it for her. Me. How did you connect the modem to the TV? K. With the cable. Me. I'm okay and when. K. Number 3. Stop messing with number 1. Now. Me. Excuse me? K. I am really sorry, my kids are messing with each other. She called the with phone numbers. After some more questioning, I asked her if she had the TV connected to the power. She had not. That's why it was not working. She connected it and at the end started thanking me for helping her. WTF is wrong with the US? TL. Doctor, internet was not working cause TV didn't turn on. She had to connect it to the power. Called her kids with numbers.